Well, I was invited over to showcase or to represent the local food, my local food. So I went over and did some fusion of our culture with their ingredients over there at the festival. I did a cooking demonstration with other chefs from the country, from Sweden, West Coast.
What kind of chefs were there?
I was quite surprised actually because they all had cookbooks. So then there was a couple of Michelin stars and a couple of very old chefs as well who've been in the business for many years. So I was quite surprised. I did a little bit of research, but not on all of them. But there were some really high caliber chefs there. It was really an honor to be there.
What was on the menu?
Well, for me, I worked with their cod. It was impossible not to. It was amazingly fresh. Apparently the salt water there is very cold, so the fish grow at a slower pace, and there's a very sweetish sort of flavour to their fish and their seafood. So I worked with their cod and I fused it, pan-fried it, cooked it very delicately, but made a nice smoked aubergine puree to go with it, and a nice crumb of almonds. Then I did some mussels in saffron and cumin broth with a saffron alioli.
What kind of cultures were you trying to put across?
I don't know. I just did what I always do, which is just work with produce that's local to us, because aubergines over there right now, it's all about Swedes and root vegetables. It's very, very cold. It was minus 14 degrees. So I worked with my own produce as well as their produce. But I was just trying to work with spices, which they don't work with a lot over there. But Swedish and Norwegian cuisine is really trendy at the moment. It's really up there. So it was really good for me to go over and get ideas and bring them back. And at the same time just work with spices, which they don't do a lot of over there. So they were very interested in that, in how we work with Moroccan spices and paprika and smoked paprika and things like that they're not very current with over there.
Well, the melting pot that we have in our community, and of course translates into our food, how compatible was that in Sweden? How well did it go down in Sweden?
Well, I think they were... The chefs I worked with, I don't know if they were just being polite, but they just really liked the whole fusion. They just really taken in with Gibraltar. Everybody finds it really interesting. What I took for granted was, for me, it was the norm, the melting pot we have here, the Moroccan ingredients and culture with food, the Spanish, Iberian, our own local things, Maltese, Italian. They were blown away by that. They can't even quantum, the amount of food cultures we've got going on within this one small place. So it was really interesting talking to them